Welcome to Arsenal Kids Podcast.
Hello, welcome to Arsenal Kids Podcast. My name is Madi, and today I'm joined by my co-host Ben, and it is great to have you join us for this episode.
Yes, hello listeners, hello Maddie, and welcome to episode number 156.
Thanks, Ben. And what are we talking about in this time around?
Well, Maddie, in part one, it was another great performance by the women's team, who have set themselves up to make it through to the knockout stages of the Champions League after a successful trip to Italy, facing Juventus.
It was an amazing 4-0 victory. And then part two.
In part two, we're going to talk about what is known as the Green Action League and Arsenal's net zero targets.
Part of our club's goals to ensure we look after our environment in the best possible way.
But before we get there, just a quick reminder that we would love for you to help us to grow our Arsenal Kids community, so please share our podcast with others.
We would love you to join us on this adventure
We would indeed. And Maddie, let's start with the football today, and with the men on international duty, which we're going to cover off next week before they return back to Arsenal action. The only senior Arsenal team playing at the moment is the women's team, and they headed to the Stadio Comunale Vittorio Pozzo La Marmora in Italy to face Juventus.
Where is that?
Well, Madi, Juventus, the team is based in Turin, in Italy, and this ground is actually about 2 hours from the city centre. I don't want to say that it's quite a paddock in the middle of nowhere, but I think Arsenal referred to it generously as a wonderful place under the mountains, and maybe it was just wonderful because we won.
And what was the team's news before the game?
Well, interim head coach Renee Slagers made just the one change from the starting lineup that scored 5 on the weekend, with Daphne von Domselaar returning as goalkeeper, and she was called into action early on, rushing to cut off a promising run from the Juventus attacker at the edge of the area. But after that opening spell, our Gunners settled into the match and found an attacking rhythm. Emily Fox, Beth Mead and Frida Mornham all combined well on the right flank as we explored routes through the Juventus backline. Alessia Russo also found herself in a number of promising positions, both breaking the lines and in some good quick link-up play.
And it was Emily Fox who came close to scoring the first goal, with her chip shot only to be tipped away by the keeper.
It was close, but eventually we found a well-deserved breakthrough a few minutes before half-time, with slick passing that really typified the way we were attacking throughout the first half. Caitlin Ford fed a perfectly weighted ball through to an on-rushing Frida Mornham, and our Norwegian tapped home, making the scoreline
1-0 Arsenal.
And the Gunners took that lead into the halftime break, and despite the hosts coming out for the second half with a little more intent, it was the Gunners who remained comfortably on top of this game. And Emily Fox was then exceptionally close to doubling our advantage when she took a shot that absolutely whacked the crossbar and ricocheted back down, but it was cleared by the Juventus defence. It was then Leah Williamson who had a golden chance to add to the scoreline after a deep delivery from Katie McCabe from a corner found Mariona Caldente at the back post. Our Spanish substitute nodded the ball back to Williamson, but our number 6's subsequent header went over the crossbar on this occasion.
But then we did find our second
Stina
goal.
Blackstenius, who had also come on as a substitute, blasted the ball into the back of the net after she had been expertly played in by Caldente. She still had much to do, but she drove into the box, and as the defender backed off, she took the opportunity to get close enough to goal, and despite the keeper getting a hand to it, the shot was too powerful and made the scoreline 2-0.
And then our provider became a goal score herself as she scored our third goal.
Yes, our Spanish international finished off a move after a great run from Lena Hurtig, where she got to the byline and cut the ball back, which was poorly cleared out by the defender, and Mariona was in the right place to receive the ball and absolutely hammer it into the goal for Arsenal's third. And it means she actually now leads the Champions League tournament for combined goals and assists.
And then we added a fourth.
We did, and it was our Aussie Caitlin Ford who was assisted by her fellow Australian international Kyra Cooney-Cross, who crossed it in for the right-hand side. Ford got to the ball in front of the defender, and her beautiful touch was just right to get it past the keeper and make the scoreline 4-0 to the Gunners.
And what does this mean for the team, Ben?
Well, it means we go into outright second place in our group, Group C, behind current leaders Bayern Munich at the halfway point of the league format, having gotten 6 points from our first 3 games. Remembering, it is the top 2 teams from the group who are going to progress to the knockout stages of the competition.
And next for the team, Ben?
Well, attention now turns to the Women's Super League, where our Gunners are going to trip across to North London to face fierce rivals Tottenham Hotspur at their home ground this weekend. Let's hope our ladies can ensure that North London remains red.
Okay, we'll leave it there for part 1, and we'll be right back after this with part 2. Welcome back, and Ben, let's get into how Arsenal have joined forces to launch the Green Action League.
Sure thing, Madi, and they've joined forces with 3 other big teams in global sport. The Los Angeles Rams, the Denver Nuggets, and the Colorado Avalanche. And together with the Arsenal, they've launched the Green Action League, which is the largest fan-driven campaign on sustainability ever seen in sports.
It invites fans from the teams to compete against one another to help their teams secure the title of the greenest fans.
And the tournament runs from November 11 to December 1. And it's aimed to help us, you listening, and even Maddie and myself to adopt greener habits as participants score green points for their sustainable activities. We all know how small, simple actions can add up to massive impacts. And this is not about fans overhauling their lives, just recycling an aluminium can or picking up rubbish can help our team lead the way in sustainability.
And how can we take part, Ben?
Well, if you want to take part like we are, just head to greengooners.com and we'll put a link also in the show notes for people to find. But you can sign up there and score points for taking those simple actions that I just spoke about. And each activity earns points. And top performers from each team will also have the opportunity to win exclusive prizes, such as game tickets, meet and greets with players, and signed merchandise as well. The big focus is on that aluminium packaging, as it remains one of the most sustainable materials, with 75% of the aluminium ever produced still actually in use today, with the cans that are recycled being able to go from the recycle bin back to the store shelves in as little as 60 days, making it the most sustainable beverage packaging solution available.
And something that is encouraging, an Australian with us able to earn money for recycling cans through our Containers of Change program.
Yes, we are blessed here in Queensland, where we actually earn 10 Australian cents for every aluminium can we return for recycling to help encourage us not to put them into landfill. So this Green Action League, it's a great sustainability initiative from the club and lets us do our best to complete green actions either at the Emirates Games if you're able to attend or at home to make our everyday more sustainable as we seek to look after our planet together.
And talking about looking after the planet, and Arsenal have a net zero target.
They do, Manny. They are the only football club in the world to have a net zero target that has been approved by the Science Based Targets Initiative. And the Gunners have committed to reaching that net zero by 2040. And they did that 4 years ago, becoming the first Premier League club to do so. And it means that their action plans align to try and limit global temperature rises. The plan will be reported on every year to see how the club are tracking with their goals, but the idea is that by 2040, which is still some years away, there will be no impact or net zero impact on the environment for everything that the club does, which is ambitious but achievable through what the club have planned to do. So we look forward to joining them in caring for our environment in this way, and we hope that the club raising awareness of sustainability will inspire change across communities around the world.
Okay, well, let's wrap it up for this episode. Thanks again for joining us at Arsenal Kids Podcast.
Before we sign off, we want to express our gratitude for your continued support. If you haven't already, follow, like, and subscribe so you don't miss us in the future. Because remember, your love for the beautiful game is what fuels our passion.
And we would love for you to spread the word about Arsenal Kids Podcast.
Yes, please share our podcast with other Arsenal kids you know and help us to grow this amazing community together.
We hope to join you back in the pitch again soon.
Keep the spirit of the game alive, and until next time,
Goodbye.